to this very important session, The Future of Business Travel. Mr. Vinod Jutsi, Ex-Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. Ms. Jyoti Mayal, President of TAI, the Travel Agents Association of India. Mr. Riaz Munshi, the President of OTOAI, the Outbound Tour Operators Association of India. Mr. Sanjeev Joshi, President, Site India. Mr. Jatinder Singh Taneja, Vice Chairman, PATA India Chapter. Mr. P.P. Khanna, President, ADTOI, Association of Domestic Tour Operators of India. And Mr. Nitin Sachdeva, Co-Chair, Meetings Mean Business, India. With this, I'd like to welcome all the speakers once again and formally open up the session. Well, friends, we all know what situation our industry is in, highly dependent on business travel, tourism, and for this, none better person than Mr. Vinod Jutsi to open up the session and enlighten us as to what is happening in our industry, what is the way forward, how we can resume the business travel, and what norms does he foresee will play an effective role going ahead. Over to you, Mr. Jutsi.
Thank you, Mr. Raghav. Before I respond to your question, please accept my compliments for organizing this mega show on business tourism. Well, first of all, let me admit that out of all the verticals in travel and tourism, MICE and business tourism has taken the biggest hit. But the encouraging and the redeeming point is that the business tourism is not just tourism alone, it is tourism for business. And business is linked with economic activities of the countries. Today, you can very well see how India has opened up its economy almost in complete measures after Unlock 4 all the more, despite recording highest new COVID cases every day. A real bold step of the government, I must say. Similar trend you will find globally. And all countries are racing to reopen their economies. Now, this sends two clear messages. Number one, that the importance of economy now has become more predominant, leading to the global call for living with the virus. And secondly, the business tourism therefore will automatically get precedence over other forms of tourism in days to come, because the more the economy opens, the better the business tourism will flourish. Now, if we talk of restarting, rebuilding and reviving MICE and business tourism in India, except for international traveling and some few tourism related activities like entertainment parks and swimming pools and all, government has lifted all the restrictions. Although with certain ceilings which have been imposed on meetings and congregations. Rather, with Unlock 4, the number has also been increased from 50 to 100. And the good news for the MICE sector in India is that government has also allowed, in very equivocal terms, as a separate clause, the social, academic, sports, entertainment, cultural, religious, and political functions and other congregations can also start, though with a limit. Therefore, friends, it is time for business tourism stakeholders to take the lead and bring up new innovative business models and strategies that will suit the current state of affairs. Now, Mr. Raghav, I would like to also suggest certain strategies for the MICE industry, from my point of view, at least for the next few months, maybe a year, till COVID vaccine brings the new normal back to more or less normal. Now, my first point is, as we have all been advocating that domestic tourism is the first to start and it will start. Similarly, I would say that domestic MICE has to start first. Inbound is not possible immediately. And within domestic also, I would say that just like for domestic tourism, local tourism, now these days people call it Aas-Paas tourism. So I would suggest local MICE also at this point of time, convert outbound MICE into domestic MICE. Now today, international conferences, film industry going abroad, filming of, shooting abroad, corporate meetings and all these will not happen. Now don't make them wait for, the international traveling to start and outbound to start. Convert them into domestic MICE. Let them have all these things within the country. Number three, the corporate sector has to be aggressively pursued for, for promoting and reviving their own setup through domestic MICE. In fact, they don't have any option also at the moment. My second point is that even when inbound MICE happens, sooner or later, as you know, in bubble arrangements, international traveling has started. Focus on bilateral inbound MICE rather than multinational or multilateral, because it is very difficult to organize an international event in India with many countries coming in, because all will have their own visa issues and all. So just like the arrangement for international traveling has been done with bubble arrangement, similarly, if you have to have a MICE event in India, do it with a country. So it should be between one country with India and likewise. My third point, Raghav, is virtual reality, virtual MICE is already in vogue. So bring virtual MICE also, and it may predominate real MICE for some time, but virtual definitely cannot take the place of real permanently. Now both will coexist for some more time. In fact, virtual will never go, but real will come back. So let us, for the time being, Raghav, have a regime of hybrid MICE. This is the latest term used, that you have to have a combination of real MICE as well as virtual MICE, and you can't do away with the virtual MICE for some more time. So this is the right combination at the moment. And work from home culture, as we all see, is seeping in. It may be a possible threat to travel and accommodation sector, particularly within MICE. But in India, I am wondering how many companies can manage work from home, what kind of technological infrastructure we have, what about tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Barring some of the industrial sectors like IT, like technology-based companies, e-commerce, who can manage working from home, but industries like manufacturing, industries like agro industry, the auto sector, the construction sector, I would say the majority of them have to get into real MICE, have to get into real tourism, and they cannot do with the work from home culture for a very long time. My next point is, if you see the context of India, as I had mentioned, government has opened social, religious, academic, so have social MICE, have religious MICE, have academic MICE, have cultural MICE, have sports, political. Wedding is already a very important sector or subsector within MICE. Now, what I'm trying to say is convert big MICE events to smaller events related to these areas. I have worked in districts, and we found that there are so many meetings, small or big or medium meetings happening everywhere in the government, outside the government, whether it is society based, whether it is some kind of religious function, some kind of even birthday parties, engagements, wedding apart. Now there are so many activities which keep happening within the society. Now catch them. And when I said Aspas tourism, when I said local MICE, you cater to these kind of new MICE openings, and for that you have to customize, whether it is price related, whether it is terms and conditions, but do concentrate on these particular areas which government has opened up. And in India, I would say social, religious, and cultural. If you combine, and even political, if you combine all the 4-5 things, I think it covers a great deal of activities. And my next point, which is the last but not the least, is that the focus on removing fear of traveling and meetings from the people is the most important thing. Today, India has opened up quite a bit. Since May 3rd, India has been opening. But even then, there are complaints that people are not. In fact, a survey was done, and it conveyed that India is more sensitive than other countries globally in terms of opening up or maybe coming out for traveling. I will not go into the details, but the point remains that both the government and the industry has to dispel fears through proper communication to people and taking all possible safety measures. So I would say, Raghav, I will stop here. Basically, you have to move out of your normal mindset. And I'm not saying that you remove your mindset, remove the present strategy totally. It is basically that during the interim period, you have to restart, you have to You have to begin somewhere. And to begin, you have to undergo all these activities, and these are the best ways to trigger. You may be unviable in the beginning. You may be having low volume of business. You may even incur some more extra losses during this period, but then something has to start. Thank you, Argo.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jutsi. Those were real words of wisdom, and picking up some cues from you, where you said that the fear of travel must go. I'd like to go to Ms. Jyoti Mehal and understand from her, from the airline's perspective, from the perspective of aviation, though the operations have restarted, what are the current updates that we have from this field?
Thank you, Raghav. Thank you for having me over here and letting me represent TIE. And of course, it's a wonderful initiative that you've taken. Coming back to your question, I think, the aviation industry took some time to start firstly. It took a lot of time to literally start travel, but of course, it was not because it was not supposed to be, but it took some time because the lockdown was in force and there was no travel. When the industry started opening, I think Mocha took some steps, and the flights started on domestic tourism, because that's what, like Mr. Joshi said, that we're expecting the domestic tourism to start. So of course the domestic airlines started flying. But our main challenges before even the airlines started were refunds. I think that was one issue which I think even you have covered in your media a lot. And refunds was a huge, huge challenge. And that still exists. It hasn't gone away. So I'm going to bring that point here before I start on tourism, because, that confidence in an agent, a confidence in a traveler has disappeared now. So that is something which I feel needs to come back into place. And that can only happen when the Ministry of Aviation, Civil Aviation takes an active role in it. Because of TIE, we've had a lot of interactions, and I must actually say that this was the first time in history that TIE could have such a great relationship with Mocha. And we built on that relationships to get everyone on one platform. Could be IATA, could be Mocha itself, and could be all the airlines. We had joint meetings with them, one after the other. And that's what I've said that earlier, thanks to all these webinars and these virtual platforms, that we've been able to do this. Technology plays a very big role. Yes, we understand that. And we got to do that. We've had some progress in that matter. A lot of things have started coming into place, but we are still actually suffering under a lot of international airlines and some domestic airlines not giving refunds and giving in credit shares. But coming back to the tourism part, when Mocha started flying the flights, and they started going to one sector, every state had a different quarantine policy. Every state started having their own policies in place, which airline, who to allow, who not to allow. So I think all these things created a lot of confusion more than actually a ease of travel. So I think these things have to be put into the right perspective, and Mocha needs to look into it more on a minute detail, because it's very easy to open up something, but it's very difficult to see that it is actually delivers to the last T of the travel. So saying that, I'm going to say that travel is going to be affected till the time all flights don't start operating. It's not going to happen. And I think somewhere down the line, we need to retrospect this and see how we can make everyone come back into the space of air and start traveling. Because I always say that we travel not to escape life, but but for life not to escape us. So I think that is why I always say that travel is very important. And people are now very frustrated being in a lockdown, and it'll maybe turn into revenge tourism. Like, that's the new word that's out again, revenge tourism, that people are wanting to travel. Domestic is going to be the first, but somehow I don't agree to a lot of people saying that international should not be starting in the same way the domestic is. Firstly, it's going to be essential travel for the next few months, even if it's domestic or international, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be absolutely essential travel. Then it will move on to your neighbor states, neighbor cities, or whatever tourism is all about. And then it will move on to travel without fear. And airlines, though they are keeping all the social distancing, hygiene, sanitization into place, we know the airports have faceless, contactless travel. We know everything is in a smooth process. Whoever has traveled has said the process is absolutely smooth. No one is touching, no one is facing anyone, nothing is happening, hygiene is being maintained, PPE is on our board, masks are on board. But somehow I feel, COVID is a pandemic. It's not something related to India only. It's something related to the whole world. And that's why I feel that all the flights should start operating, so that there's nothing different in India that is not there in UK or not there in Singapore. Yes, there could be the strength of the COVID, which could be different. There could be the medical aid that could be difficult, that could be different. But the pandemic is the same everywhere. So I would say I'm as safe in India as I'm in UK or Singapore, because I'm sure they're also wanting to look after their citizens as we are trying to look after our citizens. As long as the SOPs are in place and we can travel, and we are sure in our minds that I will get medical aid even if I travel to America. So I need to be insured for that. I need to see that my medical bill is picked up by my insurance company if I fall sick, though I know I have to maintain the same SOPs when I'm traveling abroad or traveling in India. Yes, but this is one point I'm going to, I know we have more questions, but I'm going to say one thing, that domestic tourism will be the first to start. Yes, for sure, because that's how our confidence will be built and the motivation will come in. But we need to also see how we can open the entire world to be a part of the whole world, to travel. Then only tourism will come into a full force and people will start traveling. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mehal, for those very significant points. And you also mentioned about opening up of international travel. With this, I'd like to move to Mr. Riaz Munshi, who represents Outbound over here.
See, what I look at, I absolutely agree with Mrs. Mayal, that they should open up the travel. Even if not all the flights, they should travel with the selective destination, maybe the neighboring destination, because we have to start the process. We have started the process, we have started domestic, and we have seen domestic demand has started surging, domestic has picked up. And same way, there is a pent-up demand of travel, and domestic and international both. In case the government start resuming the flight, I am quite confident that people will travel. Slowly and steadily, we have to build up the confidence of the travelers. So it is our duty also to make sure that travelers travel and they take care. They are safe to travel to the destination. There are some destinations we are already ready to open up for Indian market, but the government is not allowing them right now. So it's a high time we should open up. We have to think ahead. Everybody knows they have to take the precaution, whether they are in India or they are elsewhere. They have to travel, they have to take the precautions, they have to safeguard themselves. And at the same time, all the governments are putting the right kind of a SOP in place to safeguard their citizens and the people who are coming from outside to their countries. So I think I'm absolutely agree with Mrs. Mayal that if not all flight, they should start a flight in a phased manner, so that there should be a limited, there should be, the airport should not be crowded. At least they should get some kind of the same kind of what bubble flight they're operating right now. See, what is the difference in bubble and commercial flights? Bubble flight, people are thinking that it's a rescue flight. That confidence is not there to travel for a holiday or for going for a MICE or something. Now it's a good news. Government has allowed the social and business event to start, maybe with the restriction of 100 people. But you will see the ball start rolling. You will see some movement will happen, and we have to start from somewhere. And the sooner is better, I will say. Thank you.
Very well said, Mr. Munshi. I asked Mr. Jatinder Singh Taneja his comments on where the business tourism is headed to. What future trends does he foresee to revive our industry?
Thank you very much, Raghav, for inviting me to this platform, and wish you all the best for your initiatives, what you're taking to revive the tourism. And, as we all know, that worldwide tourism, the whole industry is going through the worst times, and also India is going through the biggest challenges ever we have faced, And at the moment, our lives are completely kind of changed. The way we are meeting and greeting and communicating with each other, it has become so unreal, So it's a big change what we are facing now. And, though all we understand that the approximately 9.2% is contributed through tourism to the GDP, and also it's one of the biggest employment generator. We inbound are one of the biggest foreign exchange earner. But currently, what I feel that all pillars of tourism, all verticals are kindly, they literally have no business at all. They all are fighting to survive. And whether you talk about airlines or hotels or transport or tour operators, we are really struggling to survive even after 6 months have passed, and there is no business, or there is very little business what anybody has been able to generate. Millions of jobs have already been lost, and foreign exchange earning, I think if we go through the records, so in the first quarter, it must be really negligible. And when I say that it has affected the employment, so I'm not talking about the elite employment which has been lost. Basically, a lot of poor people who are involved in inbound business, they are losing their jobs, like drivers or rickshaw pullers, or the guides, or there's a huge handicraft makers, even the vegetable vendors, etc. And the list can be kind of endless, because the whole chain of business is completely disrupted at the moment. And if it carries on like this, the way it's going on at the moment, what we are expecting in 2021, the decline can be anywhere between 60 to 80% in the whole tourism industry. And the trend is towards more 80%. And at the moment, no leisure business had started, when we talk about inbound tourism. So there is no businesses coming at all. And as the country, is still fighting with COVID, unfortunately, the numbers are still surging. And every day the numbers are increasing, 60 to 70,000 numbers, what we are looking at, which is a huge number. So there is still a lot of uncertainty which is going on. And surely at the moment, the international travelers, for any purpose, whether it's leisure travel or a business travel or MICE or any other event, they are not really ready to travel for long destinations as of now. A little bit travel, which has started, is primarily inter-Europe. They have opened the doors, so some kind of movement has started. But long haul, if you're talking about India and some other long haul destinations, I think it is going to take a lot more time. And we should wait for, I think, for a couple of months to see the little revival of inbound tourism. And it looks like to me a long drawn process, and people, as I said, don't feel safe traveling, at the moment. And as we discussed earlier, and all of you agreed that the domestic travel, which is going to be starting, has already started picking up a little bit. And from there, kind of, we can take on. And after that, a little bit of business travel can start. And then thereafter, the MICE, the big movement can start. So when you're talking about domestic travel, and it has already started. So what I want to say at this moment, if all of us can handle the domestic travel perfectly well and in good order, and we can send good signals to overseas markets that, okay, India is open and the Indians are traveling and it is safe to travel, and the good reports are going through all media channels. So I think that the movement will be faster. Instead of we going and telling any tour operator that India is safe, I think word of mouth from domestic traveler will work out much better. And I would say at this time, the domestic business can actually be a foundation for the international inbound travel, leisure travel, or whether it's MICE travel or any kind of business. So the right signals have to go through domestic traveler who are already visiting that, okay, everything is fine, everything is safe, come to India, we have traveled and all these places are fine. And only then the international travel would probably pick up. So, so domestic travel can be a little foundation for all your international travel at the moment. This is what I'd like to say at the moment.
Very well said. Thank you for your comments, Mr. Taneja. And I'd like to move to Mr. P.P. Khanna because you also mentioned about inbound travel. So Mr. Khanna would be the best man to answer my next question. Mr. Khanna, can you echo the sentiments of domestic tour operators at this point in time?
Thank you, Raghav, for this organizing this webinar on the business travel as well as the MICE. That's exactly the. Everybody today is talking about, the domestic travel. But still we are waiting for that real practical, the evolution which has to come. And still it is, standstill. As everybody knows, the tourism has always contributing, in shaping the economy of any nation. And India being the largest, in population, is contributing a lot in the business travel, in the domestic travel, and also everybody knows that today we still stand in the third position compared to, the USA and China. Whereas every USA citizen, they travel 5 times domestically in USA and China 3 times, whereas Indians with a population of 130 and we have a domestic travel almost about 180 billion. So if you really say that the average comes to almost 1.25, so we are still, on the number 3rd, whereas, with the taking the growth of every annual, we can see that almost 15 to 20% annual growth we are seeing in the business tourism and in the MICE tourism. And our union government is also targeting and wants to achieve almost 2% of the global business tourism market share by 2025. And with such rapid growth in India, MICE tourism, now we can see that Asia has become a very hot destination, and particularly India. A lot of several companies, they are targeting India as a hot destination to come and to do their conferences, conventions, seminars, promotional activities. But, it not only depends on that, what exactly the domestic tourism is doing. It all depends on a few of the factors. Like I said, evolution of concept. The concept of MICE industry or the business industry has entered its growing phase in India with the advent of, luxurious accommodation. Now we have a lot of luxurious accommodations here. And we are also hosting a lot of large scale, the conventions, like if you talk about the Commonwealth, we have already organized games. And now the focus shifting from Europe to now Asia Pacific regions, and India has a chance for the major breakthrough, because India as such has a lot of infrastructure. If you really talk about the infrastructure amenities, India infrastructure amenities are facade in unique in its own, and compared to several other countries, if you really talk, and we have more than 300 5-star hotels with the, the 4-star hotels, 3-star hotels, 2-star hotels, and even the homestays are also available in India, which is a major factor contributing to the domestic, the business and the MICE tourism in India. And if you really say that it not only is that it's a perfect place for conducting big conferences, seminars, meetings, and other events. Another factor which is very, very important is the connectivity. Like now today, everybody is talking about that, domestic airlines have started, and the same way we should also start the international airlines also, because, we have to exit with the pandemic, no doubt about that now. if you will not start, the economy will be going down every. So there are tremendous changes in the air as well as the road transport in today's date. If you really see, we have almost 20 international airports in India and several domestic airports. And with the upcoming of the Udan scheme also, it is connecting to even different location and even the small sectors and the locations and the destinations. Not only that, the connectivity with, if you really take into consideration, we have a lot of now express highways, which are really connecting to different cities with seamless travel. And this is another major cause which can really promote the domestic tourism and the MICE tourism in India and the business tourism in India. Also, now taking into consideration, business traveler needs some sorts of attractions when he comes for any business traveler or like doing some conferences like that. So India is a nation of diverse culture, tradition, and also variety of foods which are really offered by the Indians in India.
Very well said, Mr. Khanna, and thank you for your valuable comments. With this, I'd like to move to Mr. Sanjeev Joshi, who represents Site India chapter. I would like to understand from him what are the new and latest updates from the world of incentives. If you can throw some light upon that.
What I wanted to tell you that at the moment, government of India need to create a secure environment for tourism, whatever we are talking, domestic, international conferences and everything. As you know, I own all the three kind of businesses, and my view is very simple. We have to offer a safety. And international feedbacks which we receive at the moment are not so positive. It's not related to India for entire business anywhere in the world. So what we need to do is, at the moment, whatever we can do, curtail the disease to whatever level, start with domestic. My company has already started virtual meetings, which is working, as Mr. Jutsi mentioned. Virtual meetings are started, but the problem is the companies also need to have a money to organize the bigger conferences. Presently, there is a financial crunch with everybody. As per international travel to India or international conference is concerned, I think so it will take very good time, maybe a year or so. Whatever we say, till the time we build a confidence that we are capable of managing a conference without any problem to the guest, it won't come to India or anywhere, they won't travel. As per incentives are concerned, that will take, I would say, 1.5 years, 2 years. Conferences may come, but incentives from abroad definitely would not come. As per outbound incentives are concerned, again, they will start, but only to a destination which is safe. And also, if the company in India is willing to spend, because it's more related to finance than anything else, or as we can see at the moment, every company is suffering due financial losses. As per Site is concerned, Site International, they are doing a lot of education.
With this, I'd like to move to Nitin Sachdeva, and I'd like to ask you a focused question. What measures can we take to reinstill confidence amongst the business travelers?
Well, Raghav, thank you so much. Congratulations on the International MICE Showcase. It's a great show. Thank you so much for having me. To your questions, I would want to say, business travel make up about 10% for the airline as a total segment, but it contributes to about 55 to 75% of their revenue. So, definitely, COVID has hampered, the growth of the airlines. Of course, that's the first point of any, travel that happens. If you have airlines, people can travel. And that's now the safest way to travel, right? So this is what being proved by scientists, by experts in the industry. To your question on, what are the measures that one can take? We have been seeing globally, we have been researching globally, we have been working with global organizations as Meeting Means Business is in US and Canada as well. So what we see is, I think hygiene and health security would be the #1 priority for anybody, to actually consider any travel whatsoever, domestic or international. The second most important thing is communication, to create confidence, as everybody here, all the distinguished, guests on this panel have really already mentioned that confidence building would be the key. But how do you build confidence? I think communication from the government, from the private sector, from the airline to the customer has to be crystal clear, and it has to be consistent, because if the airline is saying something, the airport is saying something, the hotel is saying something, and the government is saying something, the customer will get confused. And it's also a responsibility as the trade to be ambassadors of our own business. So once the things open up, I think the most important confidence building activity would be that we travel ourselves to destinations which are open to us, or probably domestic. I would say, as Mr. Khanna mentioned, that India has a great opportunity. Yes, definitely has a great opportunity. And if, we can create that confidence by traveling ourselves, I think that we can convince the customer, because we are already sold on the product. The third and the most important thing is financial security, because as Ms. Mayal mentioned, that the airlines had, their didn't have refunds given out, and all funds were stuck for corporates, for agencies, everybody, right? So I think everybody's looking for financial security, and that's why I feel there are new ways of putting your finance into a secure position. Like, for example, there are products like, there are companies like Meeting Escrow, which are being used by a lot of corporates in the Western world to really protect their advanced deposits, and the money really is transferred to the supplier after the event or at the start of the event, so that they really know if the event is happening or not. Because we have seen examples of very, very famous exhibition, got cancelled, and they mentioned that they would not refund the money to the people. So I think that also is a very important factor in the sales funnel for any business events to happen. That would be my point of view on your question, Raghav.
That's a very significant aspect which you have mentioned, and thanks for pointing out those confidence building measures. And we've had a very elaborate and very useful deliberation so far, with all the speakers contributing significant points, and it's been a food for thought personally for me. With this, we'll move to our last and final round, where I ask focused questions from each speaker. And I'd like to start with Mr. Vinod Jutsi. Sir, you have been a bureaucrat yourself. You've been a policy maker. What can government do to help revive the business tourism industry? And what has been done so far? My question to you, sir.
Raghav, you have a very valid question. In fact, whenever there is a crisis, it is natural for the industry and trade to look up to the government. Now, you see, tourism has suffered because of lockdown, because of the pandemic. And the lockdown has brought demand supply shock. Now, what has happened is, in normal recession, there is only a shock of demand. But in the case of COVID crisis, you had the shock of demand and supply both. So it is therefore for the government to lead from the front, and while taking the help from the industry and all the stakeholders, to revive and recharge the demand and supply both sides. Now, coming to the supply side, unfortunately, as many of the speakers have already spoken, the supply side has been fractured. Now, it is because of the liquidity problem, because of financial viability. It has become, the supply side has become weaker. And many suppliers have even closed their shops. They have lost their jobs. Therefore, the government has to come to their rescue for helping them with liquidity, for helping them with working capital through easy loans, help them through fiscal and monetary measures. Government therefore must consider to allow, for example, longer moratorium on the working capital, on the principal amount, on the loans, on the overdrafts, waiver of statutory dues, GST relief in some manner, provide interest-free loan or maybe low interest rate loans, rescheduling of principal and interest loans, waive or reduce local taxes, the charges, electricity, water. These are small things, but they are going to help revive and recharge the industry as a whole. Now, I must say there are few countries I can cite. The Thailand Tourism Board, it has given a stimulus package of almost 1 billion baht to boost domestic MICE. Now, this can be done by our government as well. On the demand side, the government has got a bigger role, as my other speaker had mentioned. The first is to allay the fears of people to travel. You have to launch a health safety drive. You have to have health certification, either by government or the third party. We are having some safe travel stamps, in the private sector, but then government backing, just like we have classification, similarly, we must have certification from the government. We must have health safety infrastructure from the government side. Another thing which is very small but important for MICE to revive, the government in the unlock has mentioned 100 people in a congregation. Now, if there is a big setup, there's a big enterprise, a big hotel, why can't we have events simultaneously of 100 each, multiple events within a premise, provided they are able to keep the SOPs and the guidelines intact. Then, as has been mentioned by others also, open inbound MICE as early as possible. And I agree that international traveling should also start. In fact, we've had good experience of Vande Bharat. And of course, even the bubble arrangement is happening. It is not just the thinking of government is different, because when you have to start international traveling, you have to deal with many governments. And let me tell you I'm not saying anything very secretive, but you have been seeing in the news that the Honorable Minister Civil Aviation has been mentioning that Southeast Asia and the South Asian countries will also be linked very soon. So gradually it is happening. It may not happen even domestic traveling. Let me submit that as the demand will go up, the domestic traveling will go up. Domestic airlines will go up. This is what the minister has mentioned. Today, I'm operating at a particular percentage. In case the demand goes up, he's ready to start more air traveling domestic. So this ceiling of 100 should also be considered to be revised, upward revision with stricter guidelines. And of course, government should directly support MICE, through having meetings, because all said and done, private sector can have virtual meetings, but government cannot have. Even today, you see the entire government is working. Even the cabinet meetings are held in person and not always through the virtual. So what has government done so far? I again reiterate, opening up the economy is the biggest contributor despite COVID crisis. The new national tourism policy, Raghav, is a very good beginning, and it has mentioned specifically certain provisions for a detailed action plan for MICE, and also that India will make special efforts to have conventions in the country, and the model will also be changed, and of course to promote DMOs. Now that is what I mentioned. We have to take MICE to the district level as well. So task force has been constituted. The Honorable Minister is the chair. The minister has had meetings with the associations to ask exactly what should be the. So let us wait for more and more packages, more and more stimulus. The government is too busy in curtailing the COVID crisis at the moment rather than concentrating on the packages. Once things become more streamlined, once the flattening of the curve happens, or maybe the sliding down of the curve happens, I'm sure the government is going to give something more to the tourism industry, in particular to MICE. This is how I think the government has played a role and should play the role.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jutsi, and I'm sure that you are playing a very important role at this point in time in advocating our industry's suggestions and the way forward, reaching out to policymakers through your foundation also. And we thank you for your very, very relevant points that we have made here. And I'm sure the attendees have gained a lot of insights through this useful deliberation. And picking up some cues from you, I'd like to move to Ms. Jyoti Mayal because she's also been advocating about the industry concerns through various campaigns in various trade bodies and through various associations. Ms. Mayal, what has been the significant outcome so far through your advocacy campaigns?
Well, Raghav, there hasn't been much of a significant progress in the entire thing. Like Mr. Jutsi just said, that we've recommended a lot of things to the government. We started, it was literally like the first day of the lockdown where we all as faith sat together and we started making documents as one body. And I think this is the best thing that came out of the entire pandemic, that there was a uniform and a unity which came into the industry. Because, earlier we used to all be running pillar to post our issues, and, we used to get somehow lost in the whole issue. But I think this time collaborating was the best thing that could have happened. And faith came in front, and we started suggesting to the government a lot of many things. Of course, like everyone has said, we asked for a lot of moratoriums, we asked for a lot of rebates, and we also asked for reliefs in EMI payments. We also asked for GST complete GST tax-free holidays. We asked for LTC to be incentivized. We asked MICE to be incentivized. So we've asked for so many things that maybe the government was too confused. And I think the main thing the government really got confused was, I think, the numbers. I think that somehow the data in this country is not there. I don't think the government even knows how many travel advisors, travel suppliers, travel industry people sit together. And that's a big challenge. I don't know, I could have IATA agents which are doing ticketing business, 3,000, which I know because they are IATA recognized. But how many travel operators, travel agents, tour operators exist in this country? Even the government doesn't know. So that was a Herculean task that we went through. And the figures till date, I don't think if there is clarity to the government. So the government got very confused to say, hey, there are only 5,000 agents, but they are saying they are 50,000 or they are 5 lakh. Because the value chain in our industry is huge. It's a huge value chain which exists. It's not only about someone doing ticketing. It's not someone only doing MICE. It's not someone only doing a part of travel or tourism or business, because in a holistic view, travel is a huge industry. So the first thing I think I'm going to recommend, and I keep recommending, that we should be given an industry status, to see to the entire industry how it can be. And we have been actually knocking the doors of the government since many years, but somehow they just don't listen to us. So I think, everyone says that we've said so to the government, and Mr. Joshi said that, yes, they will start paying us, or they'll start looking into moratoriums and cash flows and cash crunches once, the industry starts reviving. The first day when we gave that representation, we were very expecting that it would come out in the first phase. Then we started saying second phase. Then we started saying third phase. So every phase we were looking forward for the finance minister to come out with something for the industry, which never happened. Okay, they did something for the MSMEs, and now we've started actually making all our agents register at MSMEs. So it's a new thing that started. But in the broader perspective, I don't think we got anything from the government in a form of actually supporting the industry, which was very, very important. Because besides doing the national tourism policy, besides doing the infrastructure, which is anyway the government's thing, I mean, they can get into private partnerships, which they are at the airports. The flights are starting. Udan has come into force. There are airports, 78 airports have been again brought out, and flights are starting. They have been again given to private partners. I agree with all that, but there is some hand holding that the government needs to do. And the main thing that the government really needs to do is actually to build our confidence to get out and do business. We don't have confidence. How many of us have moved out to do our businesses? No, we are working from home. We are working on a virtual platform. So where is the confidence in me to go out and do business? Why will I tell a traveler to travel? The first confidence has to come into me to make my traveler to traveler, or my business person to traveler, or the incentives to take place, the weddings to take place on a broader perspective. So where is that? So I need to do that. So is that mass testing going to happen? It was the need of the hour many months back. Now I think they should get into full force. There should be mass testing. There should be antibody testing. We open our offices. How it's going to be done, the government knows the best, because they are the ones who have to implement it. They should be taking inputs from us as associations. And I said that to Mocha also, that when you were opening flights, you should have taken into consideration, there is an industry leader, a kind of industry association of aviation called TAI. You should have asked us for the SOPs. You should have met with us how we could actually propagate the right things into the traveler, not go to the airport and see the flight is cancelled, not land into a state and say, oh, there's quarantine here and the person is coming back without even getting into a state. So there is a lot of communication gap between the government and certain parts. I must appreciate and put on record here that Ministry of Tourism has been working very, very closely with us. I appreciate all the efforts that they've done in this lockdown period. But we have suggested, like we said, we want advertisements to be happening. We want SOPs needs to be aligned. We need motivation. We need actually the right information and pilfered down right from the top to the bottom, because information that is being shared is all on WhatsApp. We don't know what the exact policies of any state are. So all these things could be, they take out advertisements in the daily papers. That's where they need to invest in. They need to invest in social media, not through WhatsApp. Should be knowing, is that country or state open for quarantine? What is the quarantine? It is 7 days, it is 14 days, it's homestay. We really don't know. Yes, we need to do a lot with them, and we are happy to do them. And they should be using our strength to actually look into the infrastructure, to do skilling, to upscaling. These are the things which we need to do. But the government has to jointly work with us in every piece, because, the pandemic has actually, I've heard everyone say our businesses are zero. It's somehow, we are on ground zero, we are in zilch business, and we have to rebuild the entire thing. So to rebuild, to reboot, to restructure, and to reinvent ourselves, we actually have come down to a rock solid foundation. Let's start building up this nation again. Okay, we will build it up, but let us do all the mistakes that we've committed initially of being not being taking into consideration all these things what we are talking about. And we are still hoping, like Mr. Joshi says, that yes, after the business starts, yes, there will be a concession in GST, maybe the taxes will be waived off, maybe TCS will not come into place. You know, these are the things we've been actually wanting to know. But we need collaboration, we need cooperation, and that's the only way we can move forward. We need to incentivize everything. We need to show virtual reality to the traveler to say that he's safe. You know, these are the things that we've been telling the ministry and again, and we need hand holding for that. And the last thing which I'm going to say is very strongly that we really need ease of doing business, and we need our financial security with the airlines to be protected and in a big format. Today, another Jet Airways happens or a Kingfisher happens to this industry. This industry is going to just go actually disrupt, you know, and it's going to be not only the industry going, I think the whole economy of the country is going to move away, because if we have another Jet Airways or Kingfisher going. So to saying that, I'm going to just say that a very strong task force should be established under the cabinet secretary to see that whatever we say is implemented, and implemented in the right format, to see that we take this travel and tourism, hospitality, and all the avenues of tourism forward. You know, I think I'm just very passionate about travel, and I think that's the reason I keep putting my thoughts very straight.
Wonderful. And we can see your passion, and we can be rest assured we are in safe hands when it comes to our, you know, leadership in terms of private leadership leading the campaigns, because such dynamism is required. And I do fervently pray and wish that the policymakers are listening to this important deliberation today. With this, I'd like to move to Mr. Riaz Munshi. And Mr. Munshi, going forward, picking up some cues from Ismail, going forward, relationships are going to play a very important role. Knowledge is going to play an important role. Maturity of the travel operators are going to be important, and relationships are going to be important. What are your take on hand-holding the organizations going forward to establish their future business travel?
Yeah, thank you, Raghav. What I said, that you know, the travel and tourism is a backbone of the global economy, and without it, global economy will struggle to survive. So it has to come back. It's, you know, matter of time. What we have to do right now, the new normal has to be in place. So people have to see that how they can organize, like all the travel and tour operator. It is very important that we have to have a knowledge. We have to enhance our knowledge. We have to read what other industries people are doing, what our industries in other countries are doing it, and taking the clue from that. We have to see how we can educate our team, how we can make sure that you know, the people who are traveling, the travelers, are in a safe hand. The exercise of what we are saying repeatedly, that we have to gain a confidence. We have to take media, we have to take tour operators to the destinations and showcase the destination, and we have to have a coverage the destinations are safe to travel. Now, as far as relationships are concerned, the major issue we have that this is the only industries where principal compete with their, you know, extension arms or their distribution channel. So in case we have successfully changed that, I think we will grow faster than even we have thought. In case we give a signal, or we can, you know, that we are all united, we have to work together. We have to come on the stage where we work as a team, as a principal, and all the stakeholders. So in case of, you know, instead of even for them also, it's better to burning so much of money in a sales and marketing, rather than strengthening the relationship with their existing arm force, and see that how they can build up the business from there. The majorly the major issues in our industry is that we say that we are united, but unfortunately we are not. In case we all work together, in case we are at the one platform and see we can all prosper together, we can see there is a lot of potential to grow from Indian market. I'm still bullish on Indian market, be it's a domestic, be it's a MICE or an outbound from India. That all will be flourish. You just wait and watch. You will see a good business in sometime in 2021. You will see business booming. people are fed up. They wanted to meet. They want to have an interaction. Similarly, the MICE is also going to happen. People are saying that, predicting that end of face-to-face meeting, take away the MICE component of meeting. That is not possible, because people wanted to interact, they wanted to meet, they wanted to understand, they want to learn, they have to explore, and that is not possible without personal meeting. So the real thing has to happen. At the same time, what we have to do, what people, particularly MICE organizers should do, they have to identify the destination, they have to identify the locations, they have to identify the resort hotels and make sure that they are safe to travel to their destination. They have to come up with the innovative ideas. They have to see that, the seating system is in a place, adequate, safety has been taken care of. When they organize a networking event, they have to design in such a way that it should not be very crowded at one place. So all these things we have to keep it in mind. And we have to build up the collaboration relationship, which will give our confidence in corporate to travel. So let's start from the domestic. Domestic has already opened up for the MICE also. So some business will start. Even smaller group can be break in the small, bigger group can be break into the smaller group. And that's how we can start the business. There is a huge potential. India will grow big, but it's a just matter of survival. And so that's the reason we have to, tightly hold our finances and resources and see how we can hang around. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Munshi. And picking up some cues from you, I'd like to ask Mr. Khanna a similar question. How does he prepare, and his fraternity of inbound tour operators prepare to benchmark relationships with their clients going ahead? Because web-based platforms may take a backseat, and relationships are crucial, personal relationships. So, Mr. Khanna, my quick fire question to you is, how are you preparing in this regard?
See, like everybody is today talking about the domestic tourism is the first, and no doubt it has slowly and steadily has started. Though we are expecting a lot after July, that the people will travel and almost 50% will recover, but it has not really recovered. The reason behind it, that, like my other panelists are also saying, that is, we are really totally confused. The whole of India is confused, whether it's a tourism part, whether it's an industry part, whether it's a government part, because there is no such kind of a control of central government on the state tourism or the state boards. Why? Because every day there is a lot of changes. One state is saying that we are quarantined for 7 days, other is saying 14 days, some is saying 3 days, some is saying no quarantine. So we are heading, basically, there is no kind of a uniformity. We are not blaming the government for that, because it all depends on the situations. And the situation, as well as it works, they immediately increase the quarantine. Whereas exactly the situation improves immediately, but what kind of a communication? That where we are lacking. Even as a tour operator, if I want to send somebody, I am not sure what are the norms of that state, what are the norms of those hotels, which are the hotels, those who are welcoming us. Only individually, definitely, a lot of hotels are sending us a messages that we are welcoming you, and these are the hotels which are open for the tourists. But where exactly the state? What states are doing today in today's date? Unfortunately, that these things are the communication we are lacking is on a high level. Whereas in this country, like we are saying, we are a developing country, where exactly we say that on the tourism part, we are not developed. Why the government is saying that you are unorganized sector? The reason behind, everybody knows about that. We have not been given the bailout packages.
Raghav, thank you so much once again. And of course, the ideal situation for any business would be if we have vaccine available in the next few months, and automatically the confidence level will go up. It will boost the business, and everything will start moving, towards the right direction. But unfortunately, the information what we have, that it is going to take time, a few months more, maybe early next year or maybe even later. So we have to start moving. So therefore, the economy has started kind of opening up, And we have started doing some, let's say, domestic business, which I said earlier, that can be actually a foundation for your all other businesses. And though there are a lot of hurdles at the moment, this is what I don't want, that the people are not well aware that which state they can move to, what is a quarantine period, what they have to go through. So we have to remove all these hurdles. And the positive message, first of all, should go to Indians. They should start traveling. And after that, they should kind of post their experiences on different media, so which will reach all over the world very fast. So that will help in a big way to generate all kind of businesses. At the same time, we need to kind of create an awareness that what kind of size we have of our country, India, and what kind of population we have. It's very important for the people to know that if, in case we are talking about 35 lakhs COVID affected cases in India, but look at our population, we are talking about 2.5 billion population, and affected cases are only 35 lakhs. Whereas if you are comparing it to US, so they have the cases are, let's say, 6 billion cases, and the population is only 331 million. So we must correlate these things to convey the right message to the traveler that, okay, we have cases here, but look at our population, look at the size of the country. If you're looking at the cases in Europe, so they have about 2.68 COVID cases, and the population is only 7.47 million. So we must convey these facts also to the consumer overseas. And then when we are talking about the geography or the size, when we are if we look at the traveling from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, we are talking about like 3,600, 3,700 kilometers. So in case something is going wrong at one of the states, but other states are safe, so the people can still travel. So that kind of message should also, we should be able to convey to the foreigners and to all travelers, that it's perfectly well to travel to these cities. Maybe one city is affected, so don't visit here, but you can go to the other cities, without any problems. And a lot has been said about the government support, and Mr. Justri also talked, and Mrs. Myal also talked. So I also would like to focus on that. The actual real support to revive tourism, we need to get from the government. And for that, I would like to suggest a real high power committee can be formed with all the ministries involved, like Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Civil Aviation, Archaeology, etc., etc. Because for every decision at the moment, Ministry of Tourism has to move to another ministry. And if they have a high-powered ministry all together working together, so the decisions will be much faster, and it will be much easier. And at the same time, I would say this committee should not be called a committee to promote tourism. Rather, it should be called an engine to economic growth through tourism. So basically, if you are talking about only tourism, so somehow the perception is at the moment a little bit different in everybody's mind. So the perception has to be changed. I would say it is no longer an elite activity, but a genuine activity which can drive the economy growth of any country. And it cannot be the last or the least priority for any country for that matter.
Very well put, and very comprehensive and elaborate points. You have made some powerful deliberation, Mr. Taneja, and I'm sure that Mr. Jutsi is here, and then probably he can take some of our important points back to the government. And with this, I'd like to thank all the attendees who have been here, and I'd like to formally invite Mr. Nitin Sachdeva to wrap up the session, this wonderful session that has been a great food of thought for everyone.
Thanks, Raghav. I think we have had great communication with everybody that have offered great advice and expertise. I definitely agree with Mr. Taneja's two very important points that he made. One was about, you know, government support regarding, you know, we need to collaborate and also, you know, we need to have cooperation with the government. It is not about advising the government. It's about working with the government. And of course, the government has to have a fluidic relationship with different ministries. I think that bringing on one table would definitely be, you know, served as a very good point for the industry overall. Similarly to what we saw Mr. Modi mentioning, you know, while he was, you know, correcting things for the the roads ministry or the railway ministry, and they had to, you know, really collaborate to get the projects moving together. So I think very great point with Mr. Taneja about the fluidic relationship between all the ministries. I would like to also, you know, agree on this point where he mentions that tourism today is an economic activity. Business events is an economic activity driver. It's like, you know, building the economy, or probably, you know, I would say it's actually a nation building activity, because if you see exhibitions, they are the ones who really are providing an opportunity for everybody to trade. You know, that's the first thing that creates a lot of opportunity for business to happen. So if the government is really wanted to opening the economy, I think the exhibition industry has to be the first one to return. If malls can return, exhibition industry can return. You know, and the most important point is, rather than suggesting the government additional SOPs, as Mr. Joshi rightly mentioned, the more points you mention, the more deliberation that will happen. I think we should ask the government, what are the SOPs that you want to give us? And if there are any additions that comes from the industry sector as experts, they can just add on to it and quickly form a consensus to really launch, you know, safer environments for consumers and business to operate. Because, you know, this is what happened in the malls case, right? The government gave them the policy and they could open up. So if malls can open, exhibitions are small malls in a very structured manner, I think that would be really driving the industry in terms of, you know, developing business. As Mr. Joshi mentioned on the incentive and the meeting segment, of course, meeting will be definitely changed because we have had a temporary shift of having meetings like these. But again, I would like to say, you know, no matter how Zoom can replicate the experience in the in-person chat, you know, it's very important to actually have a face-to-face to build relationship, you know, hashing out the finer details for sensitive deals.
To interact with such distinguished speakers and with such big names in themselves. Thank you once again.